Hello and welcome to the Masters Swimming Podcast, available on all the major podcast platforms and on YouTube. This is the final episode of 2022, and joining me to answer your questions are Beth Hogg, Jamie McHale and Jonathan Saunders. So welcome to the podcast, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Ho, ho, ho.
So we are sporting another Santa today, which is great to see. Again, brilliant content for YouTube. Beth, you were supposed to be competing today, I believe, or yesterday maybe, but you've been a little bit under the weather. How are you feeling?
I've just got full-blown flu. I'm feeling okay. I'm very drugged up at the minute, so just getting myself through with hot drinks and a lot of sleep. But yeah, it's pretty rubbish.
Yeah. Well, hopefully some of these questions will lighten the mood. And Jonathan, you had Midlands Masters today. So how did that go?
Yeah, we did. I better take this off actually so you can hear me. We had Midland Masters with Jamie and Ian Swift from our team. So yeah, it was good. It was good. Nice way to end the season. It's been a long old year. We started competing in January and finished today. So it's a nice pool. Really nice pool.
Was it more ways that you competed at?
Sorry?
Was it more ways that you competed at?
Yeah.
Ah, brilliant.
Which seemed like a fairly new pool, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'm fairly sure it only opened in May. So the old Moorways was knocked down a few years ago, and they've been building this whole centre for a while, and I'm pretty sure it opened either this May or last May, but I haven't been to it yet myself, but no, it looks very good. And Jamie, you were doing some ice skins swimming. So was that this weekend, or was that was recently, right?
That was last weekend. So today I also swam at Moorways, which was really good because I used to coach in Derby back in 94 to 97. And back then they were talking about the 50-metre pool. So I wouldn't have normally swam at this meet, but because it was at Derby and it was a new 50-metre pool, I wanted to go and sort of have a look. So I did a few 50s today. But last week I did the ice swim, and even though the temperature dropped that week before, and I was a little bit apprehensive, I absolutely loved it.
Really?
It was brilliant. Yeah, it was just so good. The people there, the fun atmosphere, and the challenge of swimming in cold water it was really good, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, and I enjoyed it that much that on Sunday night, so I did it on Saturday morning, enjoyed it that much on Sunday night, I was even looking online at the British Masters Ice Championships, which are held in February in Cheltenham, in a Lido in Cheltenham. So I may well enter those.
That sounds good. And you are wearing a Elastis Fast beanie hat. So were you wearing that in the water? Because I'd imagine you'd have needed it.
I wasn't wearing it in the water. I was wearing a swimming cap because I got my head in, and so I swam a 400 free. So I swam a 50 fly in the relay first, got out 50 minutes, sort of dry off and warm up, and then a 400 free, which was the hardest swim. So about just under 6 minutes in the water. I got out of the water, my hands were absolutely killing me. My feet I couldn't feel, so I put my flip-flops on, and every step the flip-flops were falling off. My hands were killing me. I got my dry robe on, I got sat down, I was drying off, and my fingers were killing, and I was just laughing my head off with kind of euphoria from the high of the cold water. But then I had about an hour and a bit to wait until my next race, which was 50. I did a 50 fly individual, and then about half an hour later we did a 4x53 relay. But it was really good. Our team won, and I managed to get some of the meet as well, which was a surprise. But yeah, it was really good.
I'd
highly recommend it.
Yeah, it sounds good. I've been in some pretty cold water before, not to swim competitively, just to go in it, and it is a very liberating feeling, but I can't imagine what it must be like having to concentrate on actually racing something. So no, hats off to you, no pun intended. Okay, so I asked our fellow Facebook group friends to submit their questions for this podcast. And we've got a really, really good range of questions. So thank you to everybody for submitting those. If you're not part of the Masters Swimming Podcast Facebook group, then please do join and be part of the fun. I'm sure there'll be lots of good stuff next year to come. So question number 1, Beth. Helen Gorman would like to know, do you prefer Haribo or Freddo Frogs?
Freddos. Freddos all the way. I don't really like sweets. So I'm a chocolate girl. Chocolate and so you're either sweets, crisps, or chocolate, or you're like 2 of the trifecta, and I'm definitely chocolate. I'm not sweets.
No, I'm the same as you. I'm definitely a chocolate person, and what I like about Freddos is that's how I always judge. What's the word again? The price is going up over.
Like inflation. Yeah.
Because when I was at school, Freddos were like 10, 15p, and I'm fairly sure they're like 50p now.
It's horrendous, and they're smaller as well. They used to be like huge. I don't know whether that's because I've got bigger since I started eating them, but I always think that they were much bigger.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Definitely Freddos for me. Jamie, how about you?
It depends what Haribo. I think if I can get Haribo wine gums, they are the best.
Yeah,
they're the one, definitely. But they're very hard to find, Haribo wine gums, so you can't get them that much. So I might, if I can't find a Haribo wine gum, I might go for the Freddo.
Nice. Jonathan, are you a sweets guy or a chocolate?
Chocolate every time.
Oh, boy.
I keep seeing at meets some of our squad eating squares of jelly as well if they can't get hold of Haribo, and it's chocolate Jaffa cakes. They work well between racing.
That's like sweets and chocolate and biscuit.
Yeah, I know, but but if I had to choose, it would be chocolate.
Yeah.
I think I'm always a chocolate person, but actually I think for racing, I think like you mentioned the jelly, I think I'd naturally go towards sweets. I think because I just think chocolate for me is just like a completely indulgent thing. I can't eat a little bit of chocolate. I always have to eat an unnecessary amount. Whereas
a full Freddo.
Yeah, full Freddo. Whereas I think I can just eat like sweets in small doses, and I can take it like I'm doing this for my swimming. I'm doing this for my sport, as opposed to if I have one piece of chocolate, I'm doomed. No, so that's good. Nice one. So thank you for that question. Next one, Jamie. Nathan Oxford has asked, what is your favorite ever Christmas training set?
Ooh, favorite ever.
Oof.
Any that spring to mind?
100s.
No,
I mean, it was a Christmas set, but we ended up doing it in Lanzarote this year, didn't we? Instead, because
we did.
Was it the pool was closed or something like that? We couldn't do it at Christmas.
Yeah.
We did the 100s in Lanzarote, which started off with 12 100s off 140, and then it was 2 100s steady on 2 minutes, 11 100s off 140, and then it went like that all the way down to
dropping. Oh, sounds good.
I think it was was it the East Leeds Christmas set from last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, East Leeds, Harrogate, I think so. Yeah.
But it's
good. How about you, Jonathan? Are you going to go with the same answer there, or is there anything else?
No, definitely not. But those 100s that we did in La Santa was, I can't say that's ever my favourite set. I don't know. I had seen the question, and I got my prop out from earlier. So when I used to train with triathletes, we did our Christmas set has a drinks bottle, and in it has some dice.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you can see that. There's a whole load of, depending on what you throw the dice the first time. So everybody in the lane takes a turn, and you get a 7, you've got to do 50 pull. And then you throw them again, and whatever the score on the dice is how many times you do it. So if you threw a 7 and then a 10, you'd have to do 50 pull 10 times through.
Yeah.
And then when you've done that, the next person does the same thing again until you finish the hour.
Oh, that sounds good.
Just a bit of fun. But one of the sets, so that was always the water bottle that went on the pool side. We were trying to get Abby, our coach, to do. We found the test for the stuntmen. Anybody that wants to be a stuntman, there's a test that you have to do that fits into an hour.
Ah.
and we quite fancy having a go at that. But I'm not sure that it's got through to Abby, so it might have to be next Christmas.
So what do you have to do for that?
I'll see if I can find it and post it, but there's all sorts of strange things. Some of it's just you've got to swim certain distances in a certain time, which, to be fair, for master swimmers will be fine. But then there's some weird stuff like towing somebody for 50 meters and retrieving an object, underwater swims,
diving to the bottom and picking a brick up.
All sorts of fun stuff. We just thought it was fun.
Good.
Yeah.
So my favorite Christmas set, we tend to do it every year. It's always the last session before Christmas. We tend to just do like a bit of a warm up, and then we get all the floats out and all that kind of stuff, and we end up just doing like funny relays where somebody has to swim, like pushing all your teammates on, drop one person off, then you switch over, somebody else takes, and you kind of dropping one person off each 25.
Yeah,
and it's incredibly tiring. Like, you think it's just going to be a load of fun, a proper laugh, but it's actually more tiring than most sprint sets because you're suddenly pushing a lot of weight, and obviously trying to swim as fast as you can. And then we always finish the night by heading over. There's a pub right across the road from the leisure centre where we train, so we always tend to finish like 10-15 minutes early and head over for a nice little pint. So that's usually my favourite session of the year. It's a shame we don't do that more often, to be honest. How about you, Beth? Any nice stuff at Trafford Metro?
So last Christmas I had COVID, so missed all of that, and this Christmas I have the flu. So actually, I'm yet to experience a Christmas set. But when I was a kid, we used to either play water polo, which was always really fun and quite violent, and then we also used to, similar to Jonathan, we had like a 12 days of Christmas set. So you'd have like numbers 1 to 12, a different set that corresponds to each number. And basically you just roll the dice, and obviously the dice is like 1 to 6 times 2. So you just, whatever you rolled, you would do that set until it was finished. I know that a couple of people have played swimming Monopoly as well, which kind of seems quite fun. I'm not really sure how it works, but I know it exists. So
no, that sounds good.
I'll have to ask around for that.
How do the banknotes get wet in the pool?
I have no idea. This is what I need to find out. So yeah.
So I will say at this point that anybody listening to this, if you've got any good, interesting Christmas sets, do post them on the group. I don't know if my coach has decided on his yet, but we could be persuaded to do something else. So next question then. So the Master Swimming Podcast's very own Kath Tunnicliffe has asked us all to dream up an interesting event that you could include in a local Masters competition for fun and excitement. So Jonathan, I'll come to you first.
I knew that was coming to me. My turn. I should have read the questions beforehand. Wow, an interesting fun event, because we've got all of our mixed relays now. It's got to be a fun event in a Masters competition.
So just to give you a bit more time, I was thinking about this one earlier, and we recently had our podcast talking about swimming related Christmas gifts, and what came up was Callan talking about the sponge on the rope. So I'm sort of thinking that you could maybe get one of those belts, and it could be how like in horses, like the horses get handicapped depending on their weights. So it ends up being a level playing field. I wonder if you can find a way of making a level playing field between all swimmers by putting weight in the belt, so that in theory everybody should swim at the same pace and actually see how that goes down. I think that would be, I've got no idea how you'd possibly do the weigh-ins and work out the weights that you'd have to put in, because it wouldn't necessarily be in the same weight. It'd have to be trying to make it at the same time. But I somehow feel like if that was possible, that would be a very interesting race. And it means that I could race Michael Phelps, and in theory, I'd be just as fast as him. So actually, it'd be quite fun. So that's the one that I came up with. So I don't know if that helps at all.
I like that. I think that sounds like a good, if you could work it out the science. The other way you could do that would be if you took people's PBs and handicapped it that way. So you had people starting 5 seconds, 10 seconds later.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be swimming at the same speed. It would be a question of whether they caught you before the end. I reckon that would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Jamie?
The one that always works is the cannon relay as well. But it only works if you've got teams with enough swimmers. Yeah,
that's the cannon relay is normally 6 swimmers, isn't it? And eight swimmers.
We've done them as 8, and it's normally mixed. So you've got 4 men, 4 women. Yeah, that's good fun.
Sounds good. Jamie?
Maybe an IM but after each length, you get out and you have to dive in again. So it's it makes it.
So you'd have to start off with backstroke, I assume, and then.
Yeah. And then you could leave the butterfly to the end as well. So you could do backstroke, front crawl, breaststroke, butterfly. Ooh. You get out after each end as quick as you can on the block and start.
That's good.
There's a great one actually. There's a video that I've seen online. It's like it's an obstacle race water. That looks really good as well, but it'd be quite sort of you need a lot of equipment to get that going.
No, sounds good. Yeah, definitely some kind of like wacky waters assault course would be fun. Yeah. How about you, Beth? Anything that you thought of?
Yeah, I was gonna say like cannon relays, but you have like a man and a woman from like every age. So you could go like
great idea.
Yeah.
Or you could have like cannon relays where like you have to make a certain age and it can be like anyone. So you can like balance, but like basically you have to have like a certain number of swimmers that add up to an age. So you'll get like a mix, and it's just how fast is your combination of swimmers. And then you could do like 4x100 medley relay, but all of the swimmers swim 100 IM instead of 100 of their own stroke.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that one.
You could still do relay takeovers. And you going off the blocks that like 4x100 IM, you can do that like men's, women's, or mixed. That'd be good.
Yeah, that at the nationals, couldn't we? Short course nationals.
Yeah, imagine doing like 100 IM in a relay. That'd be so fun.
No, I actually really like that idea, and I think out of all of the ones that we've come up with, mine's probably the least realistic, and yours is definitely the most realistic. So that sounds really good. Yeah, nice one. I'm going to come straight back to you, Beth. Actually, Kem Flat has asked, what would it take to get Masters competitions streamed like the Europeans?
Money, I guess. I don't know. I think it's something that we have to look into. Obviously, the Europeans, it was really, really well organized, and it was like really, really good in Rome. I think obviously it depends like whether it's like international or domestic. So obviously I think domestically we probably have less funds to allocate there. Disclaimer, I'm speaking from just me. I'm not an expert. I don't have a clue about masters swimming, like logistics. But I guess, domestically, we don't have enough money or infrastructure to like provide that. Although it would be so nice, because I know that like British champs and winter nationals get streamed, so it would be nice to have it streamed just kind of like even passively. So I wonder if that's something that we could ask Jerome or keep pestering Jerome about, because it would be good for friends and family and stuff. But I'm not really sure I am the best person to ask about how we make that happen.
Yeah,
apart from just protesting.
No, but I think there's definitely a place for it. How about you, Jamie? What are your thoughts?
I think it can be done without the organisers paying for it. So we have photographers on poolside at nationals that take photographs, and then you pay for what photographs you want. And I think it could be done that way with the video. So you could have a live stream. And you could also have sort of individual races, and you could buy your individual race after the event, but you could also pay a fee to watch the live stream as well. I think we need to think like that, because it would be a big cost to just pay someone to video stream it. But I think putting it on giving it the swimmers who want it, and then paying for it sort of separately, I think that might work. So I think a lot of people do want to sort of look back and watch their races, and I think that would be a way of doing that.
It's a really good point. Yeah, John, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It came up obviously after Rome, and as I sit on the Masters Working Group, it is something we've not finished the discussion on it yet, but it's something we'll have a look at. I think the feeling was for the short course nationals at the end of October, it's less feasible because you'd have to have twice as much streaming because you've got the male and the female pool.
Yeah.
But whether it's something we could do for British Championships, it's just an issue of costing. I think the last time they looked, it looked like it would be very expensive.
Yeah.
And I think the other feeling was when the competition's in Rome, everybody back home, all the relatives and family want to watch it. But if it's in the UK, is the demand still there? So it's, I think it's an ongoing discussion and something we'll look at for next year. But I can't make any promises.
Yeah,
we've got to make sure it stacks up. That's
yeah, exactly. I think it's great that it's looked into, and whatever ends up coming as a result would be great. I think what Jamie said was a really good idea actually about almost bringing somebody along and then actually charging people to enter into that live stream. But I guess another way, and it all depends on the price, obviously, because if we're talking thousands, then this might not be realistic. But you could almost, you enter X amount of races at £10 a race, and then you also pay, say, £10 or £15 or something like that as a streaming fee. And if every swimmer, but of course, then you have to kind of get every swimmer to agree to that, because not everybody's going to be bothered. Some people might only be racing one thing, and they think, well, why would I want to pay 15 quid just to watch me race for 30 seconds? So it's a difficult one. But I think there certainly are ways that we could do it. And I think if we managed to get it up and running, I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah. I think a lot of people use it to watch other people as well.
Yeah.
It's just like, I personally, like, I think you can always get someone to record your own races, but sometimes you'll like miss someone else's race that you really want to see because you're swarming up or swimming down, or you're just not in the right place at the right time. And I think just being able to watch, and some people, they just want to watch the last heats of some stuff because there's some like really impressive swimming in the last heats of some stuff, as is in any heat. So I think just like watching it in general is quite a nice thing to have.
Yeah. And I think, for example, there was the Welsh Masters obviously quite recently, and I know a few people that swam in that. I'd have loved to have watched their races, even though I wasn't there myself. So if I could have entered in via YouTube in some sort of way, they could have texted me saying I'm going to be up in about 20 minutes, and then I could have just logged in at the time. And so I think even from that point of view, it would be good. But yeah, food for thought anyway, and it's a great question. So Jamie, Chris Malpass has asked, who is the single most inspirational person that's had the biggest impact on your swimming career?
Without doubt, my old coach, Fred Furness. So Fred came up from Norwich so I was 50, so it was 1987. Took over City Sheffield, where I had previously swum, but the year before I'd left to go and swim at Chapeltown because we'd moved house. And he came up, and the City Sheffield swim squad, as it is now, which was City Sheffield Swimming Club, went to a council-run scheme, and I joined City Sheffield again. And Fred was he was sort of like a second dad to me for a good amount of time, and sort of got me to my first nationals back in 1989, and really sort of put me on the road to my swimming career. Really helped in many ways and made me the man I am today. It was it made me dream big as well, which was really good and gave me great confidence as well.
Yeah, it's lovely. Lovely answer.
And R.I.P. died a few years ago.
Shame.
It's very sad, but he's always in my thoughts.
Yeah, no, it's a lovely answer. Very nice indeed. Beth?
Probably my mum.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, she got me into swimming. It's like a very big part of my life. She's a very inspiring lady.
Yeah.
So that's nice. And then, like, I don't know, selfishly, probably myself. It's like a very, like, kind of a selfish journey, isn't it? When you're trying to be like the best athlete you can be. And I think you've got to I think like doing a PhD has like taught me to be my like own inspiration and to really like trust myself and like try to like rely on myself as well and have like resilience. And I think now, because I do that, like I've had to learn to like self-motivate, and now I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm just doing it for me. Like, this is really good. Like, Yeah, I think I inspire myself and like where I'm gonna go. It's not really very inspirational having no taste or smell with the flu, but new start for 2023.
Yeah, but no, I think that's a really good answer actually, and I think that is something that everybody needs to give. You've got to give yourself credit for turning up, training, and turning up for racing, and trying new races and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, how about you, Jonathan?
That's a tricky one. It's I suppose the initial inspiration for me, I'm going to show my age now because it was Mark Spitz at the '72 Olympics with his 7 gold medals.
Nice.
And I think that genuinely is what got me into swimming. After that, it would be my swimming coach who coached me from when I was 6, 7 until I was 18. And I know he gets a lot of bad press in master swimming, but it was oh gosh, I've forgotten his surname now. David Sparks.
David Sparks.
Yeah, he coached me from when I was 6 so I was 18, and as a coach, he was fantastic. You know, so encouraging, always encouraging us to try different things. He managed to persuade me to do a 1,500-meter race when I was 7, so he must have been good. Yeah, he was always prepared to try different things. And so, as a coach, when I got back into master swimming, was just at the time of Europeans. Yeah, well, just before the Europeans in 2016, and of course there was a lot of bad press. And I've just got to stand up. I don't know the man now, but when he was a coach for me, he was fantastic, really good coach. And I think Beth's right. I think after that, the parents always, you know, they were so encouraging, always prepared to take you swimming late at night, early hours in the morning. And probably they're the ones that often pick you up when you're feeling a bit down and encourage you to carry on.
Yeah.
So I've gone for 3 there. You see, well, 4 if you include both parents, mum and dad. Yeah.
No, great answer. I don't think it has to be one person, does it? So for me, you know, my dad, he coached as well at the time. He never coached me, but I think that was a conscious decision. He would always coach a different lane. But obviously, you know, he kind of got me and my sister into swimming. And then actually, somebody else that I want to mention is, and it's a shame, I'm not really in touch with him anymore, but a lad who I swam with in my junior swimming club. And we were pretty much always the same speed for everything. I was slightly better than him on breaststroke, and he was a little bit better than me on backstroke. But we're talking marginal. And freestyle and fly, we were basically always the same speed. And we just used to mess around all the time. And having him made swimming fun for me. I never took swimming very seriously as a kid, but I enjoyed it because I was always on a laugh with him. And like, you know, even in the changing rooms after, we'd always just do races so you can get changed the fastest. So we'd always be coming out and I'd still be really wet. You know, my mum and dad would be like, yeah, for God's sake, Joe, get back in there and dry yourself. And we both love cereal. So we'd always talk about what cereal we're going to eat after training. So, you know, just messing around. I was, you know, literally 10, 11, 12, but he made swimming fun. So I'd probably say I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it anywhere near as much if he'd not been there. So literally haven't seen him for years, but cool guy. So the next question is from Helen Gorman, and I love this question, by the way. What do you think to Nick Santos winning the Elite Worlds at the age of 42? So for those who don't know, he won the 50 meters fly and then did the best ever mic drop by just retiring there and then straight afterwards, which I think is brilliant. So Jonathan, what do you make of that?
I think it's outstanding. It's you know, for master swimmers, someone at that age winning a world championship, it's staggering. But I understand that people got to watch out because he's talking about swimming masters races next year. Is that right?
He is, yeah.
I think there's a lot of 40 to 44-year-olds who are
very upset.
I mean, it's outstanding that you could do that, and I think it's pretty encouraging, isn't it, that you can retain that level of fitness and physique to do that. And he's not done it in an easy race. 50 fly. Yeah. Didn't look like a 40-year-old swimming to me.
No. I think I might be wrong here, but I think I saw a graphic that showed that Mark Foster is the previous oldest world champion at the age of 37. So it's a big jump to go from the age of 37 to 42 and be winning a trip. But you know, to me, it's hugely inspirational because you see somebody at the top of their game still. You know, 12 years older than me. So that just makes you think, well, you know, there's still lots of time to improve, and not just improve, but stay at a level that you're really happy with. So for me, I think it's brilliant. And I love that he retired straight after, because he must be thinking, well, where do I go from here for a start? But also, I'm sure the training is getting hard. He'll have been at it for years and years and years as well. So, he probably just fancies a change. But massive credit to him. I think that's wicked. You got any nice thoughts about smashing all your PBs at 42, Beth?
It's just really inspiring, isn't it? It just, when you have like a bad swim when you're a master swimmer, that is a nice reminder that there's more to come, especially when you're just getting into it as well. Like, it's really good. Like, here's the perfect example of why there is like no real time to get into swimming. Like, you can do it like basically whenever and start. I know people that have got into competitive swimming much later on, and it's taken them like 10 years, but they've started to become really, really good. And it's just really inspiring. And I also find it particularly impressive because 50 fly is a very short race, and you tend to like lose your speed the older you get, but you have more endurance. So it's actually really, really impressive that he's like doing that for a sprint race and not like 800 free or something like that. I think that's crazy. I think that's really, really impressive.
I suppose there is an element there, isn't there? On a 50 meters, there's less margin for error. So everything has to be perfect for you to win. And so I suppose if you're 42 and you've been at it for 20 plus years,
experience,
I guess you've perfected all those things that could maybe go wrong. So in a way, I take your point that, your endurance, you tend to keep that, but you lose your speed. But actually, from that point of view, I guess he's maybe just been there, done that so many times that...
How many 50 flies do you think Nick DeSantos has done in his life?
So that's a great question. I'd love to know, actually.
How many?
Yeah.
Do you think we could like work it out, like statistically?
Yeah. I mean, they probably do what, 7-8 competitions a year, and they might include heats, semis, and finals. So let's say he competitively swims it 20 times a year over a 22-year career, or maybe even longer. 22, 23
all the 50 flies he's done as a child.
Oh, we're counting that as well.
Oh, yeah.
It just goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
How many, like, because I have a friend who's a fly swimmer, and she was like, oh yeah, I've done at least 100, and
wow.
like she's done loads, so it's like, it's insane.
And for his shoulders to still be holding up,
like functioning.
Yeah,
that's insane. It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah. So some people are, obviously, some people do a great job at looking after their bodies and all that, but some people are physical freaks, aren't they? I mean, in any sport, you look at somebody like Roger Federer, for example, still playing tennis at the highest level, and I'm sure he does a lot to recover well, but there's also an element of luck, not breaking down all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What about you, Jamie? Am I right in thinking you're in the same age group as him?
Oh, I wish. I'm a little bit older than that.
How are you?
You've made his day.
I don't wish to be in the same age group.
Yeah, you're glad you're not.
Nice to be 10 years younger, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm 50, so
okay.
So now I'm a little bit older. So I won't be racing him, sadly. But yeah, he's very inspirational and amazing to win World Championships at 42, and like Beth said, to do it in a 50 fly in a sprint event at that age, it's phenomenal.
Well, I know he's talked about going into master swimming, so if anybody is heading out to the Worlds next year, I expect you will see him there, and I expect he'll be one of those swimmers that will be great to watch. Brilliant.
He's just about to sign for City of Sheffield Masters.
I bet he is.
That's breaking news.
Deal. Transfer window.
Yeah.
The flying squad sets in the mornings.
Brilliant. That would actually be fantastic. I think I'd join as well if he joined.
We all know he's actually going to sign for Trafford Metro, though.
I know.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't like rain, so that's why he's coming to Sheffield.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the northwest is definitely the rainiest part of the country, but that's another story. So what is the most challenging set that you've ever done as a master swimmer, Jamie?
No, it's not actually. It was this year. We did, what did we do? 30. I think it was 3100s. But we did 8. So we did them in blocks of 10. And the 8 100s were off 120, and then we did 2 100s kick off 2 minutes.
Yes,
and
I remember
it
that.
was tough. It was very, very, very hard.
It's
Yeah.
nasty.
Would you agree with that one, Jonathan?
I probably would. I still think I'd go back to that 100 hundreds. Just because I think mentally you kind of get to 50 or 60 and you think, oh my word, we're only just over halfway. The other one that we did that was fun, and I'm kind of linking with the Christmas set now, is I'm trying to think when the Olympics were. Was that last year?
Yes.
We did the Olympic set, which is in one session you do every one of the races they swim at the Olympics.
Bar relays.
Bar the relays, yeah, and not the open water 10K. So the distance-wise, it's not that far. I think it was about 2.7, something like that. But it's quite hard because you're mixing everything up. But I would say,
I assume you're not sprinting all of these as a race pace. You're just treating this as a session.
You could if you like, but we often did something like the 200 fly, and then we did 100 backstroke as a recovery afterwards. So we used certain of them as recovery sets.
Yeah, we did the 1500 as warm up, didn't we?
Right.
I think it was 4.7, something like that. I think
it might have been. Yeah. But for me, the
1500 and 800.
Yeah. The 100 hundreds. Yeah, that's the hardest set I think I've done. But the one that Jamie mentioned, actually, I'd forgotten that was quite tough.
Yeah. Any that spring to mind for you, Beth?
Yeah, we do this set every so often as a test set, and it's like very, very simple and very effective at making you sick. We do somewhere in the region of 8 to 10 50s max off 6 minutes.
Yeah. Lactate training.
No recovery. So by the end, it's just hell. If you're not fit, it's horrendous. So like the fitter you are, the better. But the first time we started doing it after lockdown, it was absolutely hideous. Because like your drop off would be huge. Like you'd end up just like you'd get on the block and you'd just fall in.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of got myself to the point where I can do them all fly, which is quite nice.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very good. It's a very good milestone. But I remember like the first time I did it, I did them all free and just like fell off the block for the last one. More. That and anything with a 400 in, I just hate.
Yeah, it sounds tough. The toughest one for me that comes to mind is similar to Jamie's. Actually, it was 3100s, but we didn't do it in blocks. It was just literally 3100s. The reason it was so hard for me and a couple of the other people in my lane was because the guy leading our lane is noticeably faster than us all, and we'd agreed before we set off that he would take. I think it was either 15 or 20 seconds rest between each one. I can't remember, but we'd all go off his rest. So, say if we were coming in 4 seconds, so obviously we go 5-second intervals, but if you then dropped another 3 or 4 seconds behind him, you would get 3 or 4 seconds less rest on each one.
Yeah.
So I think I remember being absolutely fine for about 18 to 19 of them. And then the last kind of 10 to 12 were just hideous. And honestly, I think, by the last few, I think I was having about 5 seconds rest and just going again. It was really tough. So I think, if I'd have led the lane, I wouldn't be sitting here saying it was the toughest thing I ever did. But because we were following him, it just made it so much harder. So yeah. Next question's a really good one, actually. The question was actually, when you go on a family holiday, do you wear Speedos or kind of swim shorts?
Who this is?
Yeah. But I know obviously, Beth, you won't wear swim shorts. So what I will ask is, when you go on a family holiday or holiday with your friends, whatever, do you wear serious swim gear or do you wear leisure wear? So Beth, I'll start with you.
Oh, like leisure wear.
Yeah.
Unless you're swimming, like I'll never wear a swimming costume to sunbathe in. Like, how would you get your tummy tanned? So you could wear like a swimming bikini, but if I wasn't on like a swimming holiday, I wouldn't take them because they're like, you have to tie them really tight, and that can look not aesthetically pleasing at the best of times.
Yeah.
In the water, and I wouldn't like to be a man, basically.
I think this question is
it's really tight.
Yeah, I think it's probably easier for women in the sense that like bikinis and there's not a lot of difference. They kind of look and feel the same, I suppose, other than like you say, maybe having your tummy area exposed, which you'd kind of want to anyway for the sun.
Really weird feeling. So this is gonna go off on a complete tangent, but like when I got a swimming bikini for the first time and like started swimming in a swim bikini, that feeling of like having your tummy like exposed is really strange. I found that bizarre. Like, I was like, this is weird. Like this isn't right. And yeah, like I kind of also, yeah, I think I was in Club La Santa and I was like 13 and I like pushed off and didn't realize like how tight you're supposed to tie trunks.
Yes.
They just straight off.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm always reluctantly a leisure wear person. I say reluctantly because obviously in training we sometimes wear like drag shorts or whatever. These are like drag shorts times a million. Whenever you wear, kind of proper swim shorts, it's really hard to swim and it feels horrible. And also when you get out, and especially if you're not in a boiling hot country and you get out and there's kind of a bit of a cool wind, it can actually make your legs really cold when the wet shorts are kind of on you. Or like if you're like because I love going to Cornwall. So you kind of take your wetsuit off, having been in the sea, and you've got your shorts on. I just want to take them off because it's really uncomfortable having them on. And then the final thing, like Beth said, they're really hard to do up. So you think you've like knotted them properly, and then I never dare push off very hard off the wall because I've definitely been stung by that in the past. Jamie, are you somebody who braves the Speedos?
I do if I go abroad, both would be packed. And then if I'm doing a training session, Speedos would be worn. But if I'm just sunbathing and lounging around the pool, then it'll be shorts.
Yeah.
But yeah, both will definitely be in the case.
Yeah.
Jonathan,
how do you feel about someone chilling out on the sunbed in Speedos? Do you think that's acceptable, or do you think they should be wearing shorts?
I think that's a bit weird, unless it's next to the training pool and you're just sunbathing afterwards. But
it's fine. It's just European.
Yes, somebody said earlier on that if you did that, you'd look German, which I think is obviously a bad racist stereotype. But
yeah,
I'd be the same as Jamie. I'd take both, and if I'm messing about in the sea or sunbathing, I'd have my shorts on. But if I managed to sneak off for a training session in the pool, I'd be in the Speedos.
No, I think that's fair. I think if people see you swimming seriously and you've got Speedos on, I don't think people would question you. But then, yeah, if you are just kind of, especially if it's a pool that's like a family pool and you've got young kids there throwing balls around and you're
like budgie smugglers.
Yeah. You're sat there really
weird.
I do think it's a bit weird.
I went on holiday once to France and I didn't take my Speedos, and it was a rainy day, so we decided the family would go to a local leisure centre, and I rocked up in my shorts, and you weren't allowed to wear shorts, so I had to borrow some Speedos to wear, and they were the tightest, littlest black Speedos that you could think of, and I was a little bit overweight as well, so it wasn't a pretty sight.
Oh, brilliant. I love that. Final question then. Do you have any swimming related New Year's resolutions, Beth?
Not really, just keep doing what I'm doing, I think. New Year's resolution is just try and keep swimming while I try and finish my degree. I think I can't really set the standard very high next year just because it's crunch time. So I think just keeping it up and just being consistent. So that's what I was always bad at doing as a child. I was always bad at being like really consistent and doing a lot of training consistently. So just keeping it up really, and just being happy with it instead of being like hard on myself and mean to myself as I usually do when I don't swim like I want to. So just having just being positive about it.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great New Year's resolution. And actually, having the swimming as like a distraction from your work as well, something to completely switch your mindset, I think is a really good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jamie?
Not really any resolutions. I mean, this year's been probably my favourite ever swimming year. And I've it's been amazing, and I've absolutely loved it. And I think my main thing going forward is just to keep enjoying it and keep having fun, because if you're not enjoying it and if you're not having fun, it doesn't matter what level you're at, you're not going to do your best. And yeah, that's what I'll be looking at in the new year, to keep enjoying it and having fun with my friends and meeting all my friends from around the country as well. And been really good. Yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think Jamie's just, as always, just nailed it. Actually, I think it's keep having fun. We do it because we enjoy it, don't we? We're not like Nick Santos going to get picked for Team GB at our age.
How do you know?
Well, you never know. But you've got to do it because you enjoy it, I suppose. Because there's targets and resolutions, and targets are something completely different. I think my only resolution or two would be to do a bit more gym work to get a bit more power in the pool, because that's probably 3 or 4 years ago I stopped being a Virgin Gym member, and went to City of Sheffield full time, and that was really my training has been just swimming and no gym work. So I think that's something I want to work on next year. And the other one is probably try and get to sleep a little bit earlier at night and less late night snacking. That's because I've learned something interesting from my wife about, is it circadian rhythms? So she's a doctor.
Circadian rhythm, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you once you've eaten your evening meal at sort of 7-8 o'clock, your body then, once the stomach's done its digesting, it goes into repair and regeneration. That's what you do when you're asleep at night, but your body starts that earlier. And if you then go and have your little bit of chocolate at 10, 11 o'clock, it stops that whole system. And so when you do go to sleep, you get less repair and regeneration. And I guess, master swimmers are all getting older. We need to maximize that rather than keep interfering with it. So maybe a bit more sleep, maybe a bit late. The trouble is, when we finish training late,
so hard.
So hard. You're hungry and you fancy a few snacks. So
yeah.
But I think just keep having fun, just keep enjoying it.
No, I think that's really interesting actually, and every day is definitely a school day, because I knew that about the digestive system, obviously getting in the way of other types of recovery. But yeah, it's an interesting point. But I guess as well, it depends what time you train, doesn't it? And so like we train, like where I am now, we train sort of 9 till 10 quite often, and I always try and eat my dinner before I go, so I try and have an early dinner. But some people don't, because they work late or whatever, so they eat their dinner after. So they're eating a big meal, 10:30 maybe.
Yeah.
So I personally couldn't wait.
10. Yeah. I normally have mine 10:10.
Really? Wow.
After training, and I went to Trafford on Thursday night because I had a meeting with Bob Bolton and Jerome, and during the meeting he fed us a lovely big curry, and then I hopped in the pool with them afterwards, and I think Bob was expecting to see the curry again, but I managed to hold on.
Brilliant. Nice one. So my resolutions are, I'm moving house on the 12th of January, relocating. So I'm going to be joining a new Masters club. Going to be joining Matlock and District Masters. So
coming back north.
I'm coming back north. Yes, coming home. So I think for me, my resolution is to do more competitions, because I've only ever really done 3, probably as an average a year, maybe 4 in a good year, but never more than 4. I've never done more than 4 before. So I think next year I'd really like to, if possible, compete kind of every couple of months. So over the course of the year, you're doing sort of maybe 6 to 8, maybe that'd be a lot better. And also I'm going to swim like 4 events all the time and just really focus on those. And because normally I just try and do a bit of everything. And so I enter them and I think, oh, great idea. And then I get to it on the day and think, why am I not swimming the things that I actually enjoy? Why am I doing these other things? So my New Year's resolution is to swim more. But I agree with you. Obviously, Jonathan, you've got New Year's resolutions, and then you've got kind of targets and goals, haven't you, which is kind of a separate thing. And that's something we are going to talk about in the new year. Actually, we're going to do a kind of a goal setting episode. So do look out for that.
Awesome.
But thank you so much for all of the questions that you submitted. Really enjoyed that, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well, and I hope the listeners did.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you to everybody for listening to the Master Swimming Podcast. we launched it back in July, and I honestly didn't know how it would land, but I've been really, really happy with how well it's gone down. So yeah, thank you to everybody. We're going to have 2 weeks off now over Christmas, so there'll be no episode on Tuesday the 27th of December or the Tuesday after on the 3rd of January, but we will be back the following week, which will be the 10th of January, and then we'll be back with the normal weekly shows. So Jonathan and Jamie, thank you both so much for being part of this podcast today and being a general cheerleader for the podcast. It's been great. And thank you so much, Beth, as well, for all of your contributions so far. You've been amazing. It's been really cool having you, and a massive thanks to Kath as well. Kath's been equally as good. You're definitely both a real credit to the sport in your own way, and definitely a credit to the podcast as well. So thank you.
And we hope Kath's getting better as well.
Yes, she's recovering well. She's absolutely itching to get in the water. So I hear, but which is great, and I'm sure she'll be back in the new year, and we'll be hearing her lovely voice again very soon. I hope everybody has a marvelous Christmas and a happy New Year. Enjoy the break, and we'll be back soon. So Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Merry Swimmas.